walked into a drug house. Chris, who was my best friend, I remember Chris used to walk around with a bag with a Uzi in it, and I had a little 380 in my pocket. There's 3 people in there. One of them is sitting there next to a 357 Magnum. Chris comes in, sits down, and the guy asks Chris if he wants to play a game of Russian roulette. Put 2 bullets in the gun and did it, and that's when he pulled the trigger and killed himself. I remember looking at him in his eyes, and he stood up, and then he just fell to the floor and all just bled out of his head. And it was the first time I've seen somebody get killed that close that I truly loved. And that shifted me from this 16-year-old knucklehead that maybe had a chance to now just full-fledged violent criminal. I went on the run for 9 months. I learned that the detectives were like, just tell us where Carlos is. We just want him. We'll give you a deal. I was 18 years old. They're like, you'll be facing life in prison.
Carlos, thank you for coming. I'm so happy to have you on, for being such a stand-up guy, no matter what. Even when others rolled, you stood the test. Mm-hmm. That's what this show is all about. I appreciate you for coming on, and I know that you've changed your life for the better.
Yeah.
Not only did you hold your water, not only did you stand tall and accept full responsibility for your wrongs, but you changed your life.
Yeah.
You changed your life. Carlos, let the audience know where you came from. Let's start from the beginning. You came from California.
Mm-hmm.
I'll let you.
Yeah, thank you. First, really honored to be here. Thank you for the invite. I truly feel strongly about integrity. And even in my old life as a gang member, gang leader, giving everything to it, I always followed the unwritten laws, always had that integrity in that world, meaning not telling on, the people that you're with, and just doing your time like a man. I was always taught that. So, and today I'm a changed man, and that same energy and passion I had back then, I have today for the work that I do now. So it can transfer over. So those of you out there who may be in a situation where you're in that old life like I was, know that you can change and transfer that over into something great and beautiful. But going into my story, I grew up in Southern California, ideal household, almost like a white picket fence situation with my mom and dad, my sister. We had a dog. Everything was great. Beautiful life.
It's like a middle-class family.
Yeah, middle-class family.
Sure.
Yeah, and just outside of LA, right there on the border. And everything changed when I was about 12 years old. My mother sat me and my sister down at the kitchen table and said that my father, our father, wasn't coming back anymore, that he had walked out and left. And, looking back and talking to my mom, I realized that they were going through their problems behind closed doors. We weren't aware of it. And one day my dad just left. He couldn't deal with her anymore and found a new person to start his life with. So it was pretty devastating. My mother went into this really bad depression, and just couldn't love us and take care of us like she could anymore. And so my sister started to get involved in the wrong crowd. She started to use drugs. She got pregnant at 16. By the time I was 13, which is about a year later after my dad left, I just couldn't take it anymore. So I ran away from home, ran away into the streets, leaving that neighborhood, leaving that security, and ended up in a gang-infested, prostitute-infested, drug-infested neighborhood. That's where I ran away to. And I didn't know where I was going to go when I left. The first night I left, I was sleeping on a park bench at 14 years old. And I just didn't want to go back home. For whatever reason back then, my young self didn't want that. And so I ended up in this neighborhood, and that's where I got put onto a gang when I was 14 years old. They jumped me in for 4 minutes, 4 guys. But then also, it wasn't just that. I had to prove myself. So I had to go do crime and show them that I was with this group. And Initiation, exactly. And I just felt this sense of belonging there, right? Most of the guys there didn't have their fathers, so we connected on that. We were like a brotherhood almost. I mean, I love them. I would do anything for them. And even though it was like this warped belief system, my young mind, it was like, that's what that's where acceptance was for me. That's where love was. That's where loyalty was.
Sure, yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's kind of like, as I've written in my book, gangster love.
Yeah.
Because you didn't have it at home, the certain love that you were looking for.
Yeah, and young man, you
and
want that.
I didn't have my father at home either, because I was always looking for that father figure, if you will. And I'm sure that's what kind of like you were falling into also, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking for that fatherly figure in my life to help guide me, you know, as a young man, not really knowing what I wanted to do, where I wanted to go. Because before my father left, I just wanted to be like him, like walk in his footsteps, follow his path. You know, he put me in baseball. We went to Catholic school, like, and then when he left, it's like everything just was severed, and I was lost. So I found that there.
So it's fair to say to the people out there and all these fathers that are out there that whether you're separated from your wife or not, that your children matter immensely, and that you need to be in their lives no matter what, and continue to give them their support. Am I right?
Absolutely. I mean,
it's when they're not there, when they're not giving their support.
Oh, you're a parent. That's a serious job.
Yeah, it's an obligation. It's not only an obligation, it's a duty that you have, a duty, and a fruitiary duty, if you will, because you did something, you created something that you wanted to do, and you just left it alone. Yeah, there's a problem there.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, so there was one in particular individual that I really went under his wing. You know, he was like my, as they call, like my big homie, and I was under him, and they used to call me his protege, because I was like modeling my behavior after him, everything. I looked up to him, I loved him. He was 3 years older than me, and this was the first time when I really witnessed something that really just shifted the way that I think dramatically, which was we walked into a drug house one day, which we typically did, to use drugs and to sell drugs, and as they call it these days, the trap house. And we walk in there, and Chris, who's my best friend,
and this is in LA.
This is in LA. We're in LA. We walk into the house. I remember Chris used to walk around with a bag, like a leather bag with a Uzi in it, and 2 clips. And I had a little 380 in my pocket, and we walk into this house. It's filled with smoke, which is methamphetamine smoke. There's 3 people in there. One of them is sitting there as soon as we walk in, next to a .357 Magnum, chrome and black. And Chris comes in, sits down next to the gun and across from the guy, and I'm standing up in the kitchen. Very close quarters, very small place. And the guy asks Chris if he wants to play a game of Russian roulette. And he was already really high. You can tell Chris was smoking as well. And so Chris, you know, with that ego and knowing that I was his little homie, wasn't going to turn that down. And so he accepted. And they played a game. He put the bullet in the cylinder, spun it, put it to his head. With
the one bullet in the cylinder, and spin it, and whatever. If it's your luck, it's your luck. You know?
It just shows like how, like, I'm 16 at the time, he's 19. It just shows like our mindset, like we didn't care about life. And he pulled the trigger and it clicked and nothing happened with 1 bullet in it. But then Mousy was like, let's play with 2 bullets. And so they put 2 bullets in the gun and did it. And that's when he pulled the trigger and killed himself. And he remember when he shot, how loud it was, and my ears were ringing. But I remember looking at him in his eyes, and he stood up. And then he just fell to the floor, and all, like, just bled out of his head. And it was the first time I've seen somebody get killed that close that I truly loved. And that shifted me from this 16-year-old knucklehead kid that maybe had a chance to now, like, just full-fledged criminal, violent criminal at that.
So let me ask you this.
Yeah.
I want to ask you a vivid question. When he shot himself, where was it?
In the head. Yeah.
Straight on?
Straight on in the head. Yeah, straight on in the head. Like no further than you and I are right here.
Yeah.
You know, and it's I just remember running and just trying to get help, because there was no phones there. There was no cell phones back then. It was a drug house, so there's no just running. And the first person that I told this happened to was his family. I ran to his house, knocked on the door. They're all gathered in the living room, just sitting there talking. his mom, his dad is in prison at the time. His mom, his sisters, both of his sisters, and other people were there. And I was like coming in like out of breath and was like, Chris shot himself. And they were like, you're joking. And then after they took me serious and went over there, and I got arrested. I got put in a holding tank for questioning, because by the time the police came, the guns were gone. They wanted to know what happened. Nobody was saying anything. And so, they want to know if somebody murdered him. But once they found out he had killed himself, that was it. They released me.
Sure.
Yeah. So that changed everything.
So it's funny you say that his father was in prison. It's and then you were you ran away from home and got into this environment. It's almost like anytime you're involved in something like that, it's the environment that you're in, right? It's the environment that you're growing up in, and you lead that type of life because that's what you're learning. That's what you're learning as a young man, right?
Yeah.
You learn that as a young man. That's what and that's, you think that's the right thing, and especially if you see money and power, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And I remember not too long after, we're going to his funeral, and it's so crazy that like in that world, in that gang life, right? I wanted to like eventually be like that, meaning like respect it and on a t-shirt or a hoodie with your face on it saying rest in peace, because there was so much like recognition and respect for him that all of us came together at his funeral, and then afterward went and got together and drank and did drugs, and it was like that feeling that I felt there when I saw how Chris was like kind of like just so respected, and how even though because he was so loyal to the gang, that became my goal. Like it was either to get killed and be on a t-shirt and be remembered as this guy who was active in the gang life and never told on anybody, never did anything, never had a clean slate. That was my goal at 16 years old from that point, and ready to die really for it. And so that's how deep I got into it, because of what I saw and felt. So to your point,
well, it's funny you say that, because we have very similar parallels. Very, very, very similar parallels. A little different because you're here in California, and I assume you're Hispanic, Mexican.
Well, my family's from Ecuador. So okay. Hispanic, Latino.
Right, Latin. And I grew up in Boston, where it's predominantly Irish.
Yeah.
And so yeah, there's different ethics, if you will, but the parallels are very similar.
Yeah, absolutely. I see that when I went to prison. I saw that when I started to interact with men from all different walks of life. But so after Chris killed himself, I shifted into this mindset of just violence. And in retrospect, after knowing and studying, I had developed PTSD. So I was having nightmares. I would wake up sweating and just feel the feelings of guilt and shame and anger and just regret for not stopping him. I blamed myself. So that was channeling through my rage, through being more violent and earning this reputation in the gang, and eventually becoming a leader within my gang to a group of other individuals. And what we did was we used to rob banks, we would rob jewelry stores, you name it, home invasions, and we went on a crime spree. And it wasn't even like, oh, we're just going to start robbing. It was like that we embodied that life.
Well, it was it was an economic way for you guys.
Yeah.
It was an economic way in that life.
Yeah, exactly. Selling drugs, robbing drug dealers, pimping and prostitution, robbing. And robbery was always my thing, because I just liked I just loved like the planning, like movies like Heat, and stuff like that. I used to watch that and be like I want to eventually get to that level where I'm like organizing like big bank robberies and armored truck heists, and that was like my mindset. So I used to study it and give everything to it, and I've always been pretty smart my whole life, so I put all that intelligence toward criminality, and I kind of developed a criminal organization within my gang, and we were doing all kind of stuff, and we did a home invasion, robbed some drug dealers, and these drug dealers had hidden surveillance in their house, and all of a sudden, it's all over the news. So we're on the run I'm on the run, and my crew is on the run for multiple armed robberies. And so, yeah, went down that path of being on the run, and I went on the run for 9 months. And I remember everybody from my crew started getting caught. One by one.
Eventually, they were getting everyone.
Yeah, eventually everybody was getting snatched up. Except me, I was the last one. But now when I going back and learning my case and studying it and listening to tapes and all that, do my fighting it and everything, and during my appeal and all that, I learned that like every time they were getting knocked, the detectives were like, just tell us where Carlos is. We just want him. We'll give you a deal, because they knew I was the ringleader. They knew that I was the one kind of organizing everything, and so, yeah, what ended up happening was that everybody in some way cooperated with the detectives, with the district attorney. One particular individual, though, he was going to court, and his girlfriend was sitting in the courtroom while he was coming to court, and doing like preliminary stuff. District attorney pulls her to the side into another room and tells her, like, look, we'll give your boyfriend a great deal if you tell us where Carlos is, or help us catch him. And so her and I were in contact because I used to connect with her so that I could find out what's happening on the inside.
Yeah, sure.
And also give her money to help support him for a lawyer. So I was giving her money to help support him, and they were working together to capture me. And so one day she calls me.
They were playing both sides.
Yeah, playing both sides. And it's crazy because I was so young-minded that I didn't even, my loyalty was so blind that I never thought they would do that. You know what I mean? It's crazy. Like right now, I'm like, I don't just trust anybody, right? I'm like, oh, he's going to snitch, he's going to rat. But then I just felt like my crew, my boys, like they'll never do that because I never would. I would die before that. So I never even thought this. So I was so naive, and she called me one day and she's like, can we meet up? I need to get some money for his lawyer. And I couldn't wire money and all that because I was on the run. So I came all the way back I was out of state. I came all the way back to LA to meet her, to give her money, to give to him. And she set me up. So
and that's when they popped you.
Yeah, they popped me, and it was with her cooperation. And then another one of, it's crazy because there was two people. It was her, but then it was the guy that I came to stay out in LA with, which was my friend. They worked together with the detectives to capture me because I was staying at his house. And so once she knew where I was, they raided him and then made him call me to come there, and then they caught me. So people just rolled.
So similar parallels, but my boss at the time, Whitey Bulger, biggest Irish mafia boss, if you will, in the country at one time. I thought he was the greatest. I thought, the most solid guy there was. I wanted to emulate him as well as you, emulating your guy. And I wanted to emulate him the best I could. I respected him, looked up to him like a father figure. And when the time came for me, when I got arrested, and they wanted me to give him up and other people, I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it at all. And then the rumors started coming. This guy was a FBI informant for over 40 years as a fucking boss. So I hear you. Yeah. I hear you loud and clear.
I know you're supposed to be asking me the questions, but I want to ask you, what do you think separates those people, the ones who don't say anything and the ones that do? Because always tried to figure that out. Like for me, it was
I'm gonna
non-negotiable.
answer that, and it's real easy, brother. It's real easy. People like me and you, no matter what we do in life, whether it's wrong or right, because we're trying to find a way, because of the life that we came from, and the family matters or whatever it might have been, we still care. We still care. That's the difference.
Yeah.
These rap bastards, they don't care. They only care about themselves, brother.
Yeah.
And that's the bottom line. They don't care about anybody but themselves.
Yeah.
I hope I hit the nail on the head for you.
You did. You did. Honestly, I didn't even think about that, but now that you say it, like my heart was so much in it. Like I truly cared about them, and now I look back, I'm like, I would have died for them. You know, that's how much I cared.
Listen, same here.
Yeah.
I was put through a test.
Yeah.
I was put through a test in a basement with an Uzi on me. From my boss. To see if I'd roll. To see if I'd tell on other guys that are underneath me. And how much money they had, or this or that. I said, whatever they have, it's because I gave it to them. It's all through me.
Yeah.
Do what you need to do.
Yeah.
I was ready to take the bullet. So the parallels are the same.
Very similar.
They're very similar.
Yeah. Different parts of the world, but very similar, right? Different backgrounds, different upbringings, different nationalities.
You know what? Going in, whether you're a gang member, a gangster, mobster, whatever gang it might be, it's all the same. You don't rat.
Yeah.
You don't rat. You don't be a snitch. When the time comes, you accept full responsibility. That's it. And even if you didn't do it, you fight. You keep your mouth shut. It's not easy. Not many people can do that in life. Not many people can walk that walk. But you did.
Yeah. Yeah. I went to, so after I got arrested, they took me, they cuffed me up. They're like, enjoy, because you'll never be free again. And I didn't understand. I was 18 years old. I was like, whatever. When I went to court, like a couple of days later, they're like, you're facing life in prison because you're a documented gang member. And in California, you can get a life sentence for being a gang member that does a violent crime. So I remember for 9 months going back and forth to court. It was always life in prison. And everybody was telling me to rat. My own mother was like, just tell on them. Give them whatever. The district attorney came up to me one day when I went, and I was still facing life in prison. He's like, the only way you're going to get out is if you tell me where there's a body. And he's like, think about it. Like everything in my young 18-year-old mind facing life in prison was coming at me to try to just turn over. But I just couldn't. To me, I'd rather die. I would rather die than that. That was the mindset. Never even crossed my mind, honestly.
Let me just stop you there for a minute, and let's keep it there for a minute. I just want to address that. Just remember, to all you snitches out there and all you rats out there, that's how it's done. Stop pretending that you're somebody that you really think you are, but you're not no more. Once you gave that information to the government, you lost all of that. It's guys like him and me. That's right, him and me. Stand-up guys. Yeah. And thank you, Carlos, for that.
Yeah. And I really respect what you're doing here, because not many people are afraid to talk about this, honestly, regular people. And it's so real because, when you're living that life and you've committed to that, that's the rules, right? You don't tell on your friends. You don't rat. You don't. No, it's the rules.
I mean, look at in the mafia. Now, I've never been there, but of course, we've all seen it through the movies where they prick the finger and they burn the religious.
Yeah.
You don't rat. And there's so many mafia Italian guys that thought they were the toughest in the world, beating people over the heads with the bat, shooting them, killing them, 25 bodies. I got 25 bodies. But when it came time to face that fucking music, brother, what did they do? A lot of them.
Yeah.
Not all of them. And the ones who didn't, those are people who accept the full responsibility. Whether we agree if they did the right thing in life or didn't do the right thing, they accepted the responsibility and took that punishment as men.
Yeah.
So when I hear these rats out there spewing their rat shit, oh my God, I just look at them, I just shake my head, and people are like, oh, what's he have to say? You're listening to a rat. That rat will tell you anything. Yeah. They'll lie, they'll make shit up, they'll fabricate, they'll do it all. And you know this.
Yeah. Yeah, and when I after the 9 months of just going back and forth and holding my water, I go in the court one day and the district attorney's like, all right, man, I'm freaking tired of seeing you come in here. I just got a new murder case and I'll give you 5 minutes to make a decision. And he slid me an envelope. And it was a deal for 20 years with 2 strikes. I'm 18 years old, and this was when they were striking people out for stealing a candy bar. And I'm going into prison with this.
I heard it. You're funny you say that, because I remember there was a case, the guy stole pizza.
Yeah.
It was his 3rd strike, and they gave him a life sentence here in California.
Yeah, it's true. It was a joke.
I don't understand California laws, because you have so many people that are walking the streets that are completely out of their minds.
Yeah.
I mean, downtown LA here, it's like
Gotham
human
City.
shit. Human shit. They're shitting in the street. I seen him. The guy's pulling his pants down as I'm walking down the street the other day with my wife, and he's showing his wanker. And yet they want to give a guy who broke the law because he stole pizza a life sentence. I don't get that. I don't get it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. This state's a little whacked.
Yeah, bad leadership. But that's a whole nother podcast. But no, yeah, it's crazy. And then you don't even know the laws because you're young. You don't know law. You go in and then you're like life in prison. And I can't tell you how many people I know that got life in prison for craziest shit ever. Stupid shit. Like, so basically when he said 20 years with 2 strikes, it was a joke. It was like, you're just playing with me. You might as well give me a life sentence. But I remember he was like, you got 5 minutes. I'm 18 years old. I'm in the courtroom. I look behind me in the gallery. Nobody's there. It's just me. And I had this feeling over me. It was like this feeling of like, man, you're fucking alone in the world. Only thing you have is your name and this moniker and this reputation.
That's right, brother.
So let me hold on to that. And I'm going to go take this time. I'm going to go do my time. And if I never get out, who cares?
There's so many similarities between us, so many parallels, because I had a chance later on, after I found out that Whitey Bulger was a rat, and to come home early if I wanted to cooperate, because at this point they had captured him.
Yeah.
Because he was on the run here in Santa Monica.
Yeah.
And he was living there for 16 years. Oh, he was on the run for 16 years. And I have a friend that was 4 blocks away from him, and I would go visit him in Santa Monica, and we walk right by where he lives. I mean, I couldn't even imagine if I ever seen the guy, how I would have reacted. I know it wouldn't have been good, that's for sure. He would have had a weapon on him, which I'm sure he would have. But that's besides the point.
Yeah.
But the parallels are amazing.
I know it is. And we're just getting to know each other today, so it's crazy. Like, it's all these connections. But yeah, so I by the time I was 19 years old, I hit maximum security prison in California. Walk into the cell. He's a shot caller on the prison yard. So he's like, all right, sit down, youngster. I'm going to teach you how to make a knife. Taught me how to make a knife out of plastic that day. How to stitch up a wound if I get stabbed, and because you don't want to go to the hospital, because if you go to the hospital, they're going to know what happened.
And yes, exactly.
So yeah, if you're not,
I've been in that situation.
Yeah. So it's like, and then pressure points in case I got to stab somebody. Those were my lessons going into prison at 19. And you get so lost in that world. You stop thinking about freedom. You stop thinking about the feel. You don't feel what you used to feel with freedom and the touch of a woman and all that. Like, you're just like in this world, and you adapt. And so for my first 10 years in, I was just getting into more trouble, you know, removing guys off the yard, holding, like, making sure that you know, we're all the young guys are holding themselves accountable to what we stand for. You know, nobody's using drugs in there. You know, nobody's doing things that they shouldn't. And anytime somebody that snitched that came with paperwork on the yard, we'd get them out of there immediately. And did that for 10 years. And after 10 years in, one day, all of a sudden, they knocked the goon squad, which is the prison authorities, knock on my door. I was like,
oh, I know who the goon squad is.
Yeah, you know who they are.
I know who they are.
Yeah, they came like, Vasquez, cuff up. I'm like, okay, what's the fuck going on? You're going to the hole. Took me to the hole.
You know, I was in federal prison, so they give you 54 good days a year. I lost every bit of it. I didn't get all the 12 years that I did, the 54 days were gone.
Yeah.
For altercations.
Yeah, same. And they were like, we're done with you. And they slid me my validation paperwork. When you get validated in California, it means that you can be in the SHU, the security housing, for indefinitely. And the only way out, right? This is the only way out, they tell you, is if you have to become like an informant. You have to like give them information. You have to like do all these. That's what they told me. So in my mind, there was.
I guess I'm staying here then, motherfuckers.
Yeah, exactly. So,
right?
Yeah, and I really get. But I'll tell you this. Once I was in there, it was like I hit this point where like I had really broken. But it wasn't like I was broken to where like, oh, I'm going to tell on everybody. I was broken where I wanted to just end my life. Like, I wanted to kill myself. I was like done with it. And so that was my next goal, was I was going to kill myself. And I was in the solitary housing unit. There was one opportunity to do that. It was every 3 days when you get a shower and the correctional guard comes out, takes you to the shower.
When you're in the SHU.
Yeah,
same thing in federal prison.
Exactly, same thing. And they and this particular guard would give you a razor to shave.
Yep.
And this guard would turn his back, just out of respect, because normally they're supposed to watch you. You're supposed to be under constant observation.
I'll be honest with you. I've done what you're talking about. I've been through all that.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you, it was kind of like I don't know if it was degrading, but it was kind of like degrading because when I was there and I was in the hole, they had a woman guard that would do that.
Oh.
And the woman guard, now it was bars.
Yeah.
And for the shower, and you're in the shower, you're nude, right? And she's gotta hand you your razor.
Yeah.
To shave yourself. You know, and you're in the nude in front of this woman. You're like, all right, whatever, dude. Whatever floats your boat. I mean, if that's the type of job you want to take on as a woman, I mean, you know, I don't know. I'll be honest with you. Anybody who wants to be a prison guard, I don't know why they would want to do that, because for me, it seems like the dredges of life.
Yeah.
You know, locking men up and being locked up and having cuffs around, checking assholes, checking your balls, checking this, that.
Yeah.
I mean, who wants to do that every single day? I don't want to look at any man's junk, ever. Yeah. When I go into the bathroom, I look straight ahead, right? When I go into a public bathroom, I look straight ahead. I'm not looking in left or right.
Yeah, exactly. I could never understand it either. They could never pay me enough to want to do something like that. You're basically getting paid to like dehumanize people.
Exactly.
You know?
Dredges. It's a dredge. And I think Mark Twain said that. Here's a quote from that. It's like the changing of the guard in a prison. It's like the dredges of life, if I'm not mistaken.
That's powerful.
Yeah, it is. It is pretty powerful.
And every now and then you run into that guard that's kind of like, all right, I'm gonna do my job, but I'm not gonna make your life living hell. I'm just gonna and maybe even give you some leniency to do things, or give you an extra meal or something, right? Every now and then. And this particular guard was that guard. He just turned his back out of respect. Like, I'm not gonna watch you shower. Go ahead. But I was gonna take advantage of that and attempt to end my life. That was my plan. And I remember writing a letter to my mom, putting it into my property, because I know if they found me dead, that at least my property would make it to her. And, you know, just apologizing for everything I put her through. I felt like so much just guilt and shame, and just for what I put her through, because even though she struggled with her mental health issues because of my dad and other things, but I know she suffered because of everything I did and where I was at. And so I just wanted to end there. And everything changed, man. Like, literally 2 days before I was going to do it, a chaplain was coming down in the solitary housing unit. It was around Christmas time, passing out Bibles and Christmas cards. And nobody would receive him. Everybody was like, he would go in, nobody would receive anything. And I remember I felt that same way. And I went and sat on my bunk after I looked through the side of the crack of the door and saw him coming. I sat on my bunk and I just put my head down. I was like, I'm going to ignore him. I remember he walked up. I felt like his presence at the door. And then he just knocked on the door, and I looked up, and just whatever it was that compelled me to go over to that door, I just did. And he just started talking. We started talking, and he was telling me that he's like, man, look, like, I don't know if you're a believer, but God has a plan for you. You can get out of this situation, and you have hope, and you have to have faith, and all these things that I hadn't heard since I was going to Catholic school. But for some reason, the way that he looked at me, like a human being, beneath the bars, beneath the jumpsuit, like he actually cared. And that made me not want to give up, because I didn't want to let him down. I didn't want him to come back 2 days later and find out I was dead.
So a man of the cloth.
Yeah.
A man of the cloth did something excellent for you.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, it was a man of the cloth, but it was like even beyond that. It was just like a man that truly cared, you know. And I think that, so he gave me my Bible, and he told me just start reading it. And I remember I opened it up and started reading through it, and Matthew 7:7-8 really caught me. And it was, ask and you shall receive, seek and you shall find, knock and the door shall be open. And I'm like, when you're that broken, you just need something to hold on to, right?
Sure.
And I did, and I read the Bible, and even something more miraculous happened that I believe more than the chaplain, as beautiful as that is that a correctional guard used to come by every night at count, late night, you know, doing count, and he would see me reading my Bible. And so one day he stopped and he called me over to the door, and he started to ask me about it. And he was a believer, and he was like, look, man, I'm not allowed to have a phone back here or anything. I could just read books. That's all I could do. And I got some books. If you're interested in reading, I would love to share them with you. And just when you're done, give it back to me, and I'll give you another one. And so the first book he brought me, it was Man's Search for Meaning by Viktor Frankl. And just like reading about his story, it gave me like a sense of like hope, right? It's just like a sense of like, wow, if that man could overcome that, I know I can overcome this. The human capacity has that strength. And then I read more and more books, and I did 3 years in solitary confinement, and I read over 150 books. And that's where the transformation happened for me. It was me working on me for 3 years, and just being fed books and writing. And the things in my books today that I talk about came from there. And after 3 years, I go to the committee, because every year you go, and every year you show up there, they're like, nope, nope, nope. And there was a guy that was back there with me, an old Black Panther guy who turned BGF, Black Guerrilla Family. He was in there for 30 years in solitary housing unit. So for me, it was like when I went in there, it was like I didn't even care if they were ever going to let me out of the shoe. I was just at peace with who I had become, this new version of myself. And I went in there, and I was able to articulate myself well enough through the books and everything I read and the psychology books. I was able to really articulate myself to where they're like, all right, you know, we normally don't do this. It's very rare, but we're going to give you one shot to go back to general population. If you screw this up, you're done. And so I got out of the shoe after 3 years and went back to GP. And I was like, oh man, I'm this new person. It feels great. I had this new mindset. but now I'm back in the prison yard with all the violence, all the everything.
Now you really have to control yourself.
Yeah. So, but I told the powers that be, I was like, look, my goal is to get out. I want to go home, take care of my mother. I no longer want to be a part of that life, this gang life, this criminality. I'm done with it. And they were like, and I stood on that. And I was like, like anything else I ever stood on in my life. And they were like, okay. 2 days later, I got stabbed twice, my stomach and in my leg. Fought the guys off. Went back to my cell, stitched my wound up with my cellie. A few days later, after I felt better and healed, I went back out there and started to do my first groups on the prison yard with lifers and teaching them the things that I learned. And 3 of those lifers, by the way, are the first interviews in my podcast that I have. They're out doing amazing work in the world. And none of them told on their friends. None of them did none of that. Everybody got out the right way. Everybody got out the solid way. Standing firm on what you believe in. They're willing to die for it. I was willing to die for my new self, and I still am, right? But like you said, it's because it comes back to here, like what I care about. So I changed my life. You're right. I never did anything that harmed anybody, meaning like put somebody away or told on them. I never violated the rules that were set before me when I made the decision to join that. But I made it out. And now I have an amazing life. So it's possible.
So let us touch upon that. You make an oath. You make an oath. But you're 16. You're 17. You're 18 years of age.
Right.
You're not at that age. You're not totally developed You're not. You're still a child.
Mm-hmm.
You're still a child. But the most important thing that you had done out of all of this, okay, is you kept your mouth shut no matter what. No matter what. Even if you had the adversity with saying, hey, I want out, I don't give a fuck, whatever you want to do what you want to do, and I'll handle it from there, and you still wouldn't rat on these motherfuckers.
No. They were on the yard with me after they stabbed me, right?
Yeah.
But that's why I knew I changed, Red, because the feeling of retaliation that used to consume me, it was no longer there. To where that I knew that the people who ultimately wanted to kill me, right, didn't have that much power over me to get me out of this new person and go back and kill them. That's when I knew I had changed. And it was such a powerful thing because a couple of years later, some of those same guys that I knew called the shot on me were knocking at the door trying to get in my groups because people were going home. And so like me just standing firm in that.
And they wanted to go home too.
Yeah. But somebody has to be the one to say.
To break that barrier.
Yeah. To lead. And you may be that leader that loses your life along the way, but that's how committed I was to that and still am to the work I do. And I go back to the same neighborhood I was from. And I could walk down that street.
Hold your head high.
Everybody knows my story.
You could go anywhere and hold your head high.
I can go anywhere.
Anywhere.
Any prison.
Anywhere.
Anywhere. Yep. I got my bumps and bruises. I went through a lot, but I always maintained my integrity in that life.
So it's funny you speak about reading and how reading has tremendously helped you.
Mm-hmm.
Because prior to me going to prison, Whitey Bulger gave me a little tutorial. And that was read, and read as much as you could. He gave me some advice on how to do time and stuff like that prior to me going in there. If there's riots, stay in the middle and stuff like that. And don't be up front, don't be in the back, stay in the middle. Mm-hmm. And if there's any food strikes or stuff like that, he said to me, you just tell the guards, don't come. If you don't go and you stick by that rule, he said, you just tell the guards, don't put me in a predicament where you're gonna put my life in a bad way, because I ain't doing it. Mm. Put the onus on them, he said. Put the onus on the guards.
Mm-hmm.
And he was right about that. Without being, hot-headed. because, you know, I'm a little bit of a hot-headed guy. People know that. But especially when I was younger, I'd be like, you know, if they came to me and asked me when I was younger, I'd be like, get the fuck out of here, you motherfucker, or, you know, you piece of shit or whatever. I'd be hooting and hollering at him. But he afforded me that ability to do it, you know, in a smooth way.
Yeah.
Even though he was a rat, he was playing both sides, and he played it well. He played both sides well.
Yeah. Yeah, reading, man, it's like the one thing that I had to get me through that and to change my life, and now it's helping me do the same thing out here. I keep reading, but also written books, and it's like I completely get that.
How many books have you written so far?
My third one was just published about a week ago, so 3.
Okay. And you have one here, Warrior in the Garden, 7 Rules for Men.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Carlos Vasquez.
Yeah.
And you could get that on Amazon, right?
Yeah, it's on Amazon. Talks about the 7 rules I learned when I first went to prison.
I can't wait to read it. I haven't read it yet, but I can't wait to fucking read it.
Yeah, I can't wait to read your book, man. It's incredible, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I know it's difficult to write a book and do it.
Oh, no,
process.
it's not easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easy. So you gotten out of prison. You finally get out after all the you know, adversity that you went through. And you get out after 20 years?
17 years.
17, sorry.
I got a 20-year sentence.
20 and 17.
I did 17 off of that. And it's funny because I had 20 years, I maxed out. And then the last 4 years when I got out, I got my diploma, got my degree. I did all these programs that got me out 3 years early. So I got out 3 years early. Didn't even expect it because I did the work. And
well, that's a beautiful thing. I know many a guy who when they went to prison that had gotten a college education, a degree, and all that stuff. And yeah, I mean it helped them later on when they left prison. Yeah. But I don't think they have enough of those programs inside prison now to help more. Yeah, if you will. I think they need more of those programs, educational programs, to so when these guys do leave, you know, when they go through those doors into the real world again, that they have some type of education, a background where they can lean upon, you know, and somebody could say, you know what, this guy, he has a record, but he also has a degree that he got while he was inside prison. Now that's pretty strong. Yeah. That shows discipline. That shows that somebody wants to better themselves in life. Yeah,
exactly. And we definitely are working on that. I have a nonprofit that we help formerly incarcerated, but also my for-profit business. We help find talent for companies like, you know, just entry-level positions, men and women that are getting right out of jail that need jobs. So we're doing a lot of that work too. I mean, how can I not, you know, give back and help, right?
And what's the organization's name?
Yeah, so the organization is HTB Consulting, and we do consulting, like I mentioned earlier, for Google, but also other companies, and whether it's leadership development, change management, talent acquisition. We develop programs, so we got that, plus, and then my nonprofit is Pathway to Purpose Project, and we work with kids in inner city that grow up in like neighborhoods like I went to, formerly incarcerated as well. And we kind of pair that, like I bring in mentors that are formerly incarcerated that had life sentences or did 20 years to come and mentor the kids that are there when they weren't where they once were, right? So they actually learn from people with lived experience. So I got that. And and then the podcast, you know, I just started it.
So I love that. I love that they're trying to help people and change it, and especially young kids, because again, let's go back to the age. The age is that they're not fully developed. Yeah, a young man is not fully developed mentally, you know, at 16, 17, and 18 years of age. They need a few more years before they're fully developed. And that's a big key. That's a big key in the psychological thinking of in that life. Yeah, because they think that's the right thing, right? Yeah, they do think that's the right thing. when it really isn't.
Yeah.
But the thing is this. I like the fact that, I hate to exclude, I hate to say it, but for me, I would rather and only help guys like yourself who would never become a rat. Because once you become a rat, that's it. You lost it all, brother.
Yeah.
Once you become a rat, you can't turn that back, man.
Nope.
You can't. It's like firing a bullet out of a gun. You can't take that back.
Yeah. And going back to prison, I remember going in young age, and the guys I looked up to and admired most, the ones that everybody on the prison yard was like, that's the guy. He's solid. He's done this. He's killed these people. Those are the people I looked up to. Then 10 years later, oh man, that guy told.
Right.
And his whole career is ended.
Exactly.
All that goes away. They never acknowledge anymore what he did. That one time he told, that was it.
See, it's guys like you that stood the test, that didn't rat. And by the way, thank God for that man of the cloth.
Yeah.
Thank God for that man of the cloth.
Yeah.
I'm glad he helped you. That was huge.
Yeah.
Because we wouldn't be talking right now.
We wouldn't.
We wouldn't be talking right now, brother.
Yeah.
So thank you and thank him. But at the same time, integrity, it's a hard thing to have sometimes. It really is.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? As Whitey Bulger had said, and he was right to me, my former boss, he played both sides so well. And he said, it takes a strong man to reach inside himself and say, I'm here because of me, not anyone else. Because it's up to you to make that decision. It's up to you to say, I'm going to accept this. It's up to you to say, I want to do this. You have to make that decision. You have to want to embrace that.
Yeah.
And we did that. We both did.
Yeah.
We paid the price. We kept our mouths shut. And we're both doing well now, huh? And we can hold our heads high and walk any motherfucking street there is.
Yeah.
As a man.
Yeah.
What is your life like now?
Oh man, that's amazing. I got out about 4 years, 4 months ago. Walked out of prison with $200 gate money, starting over in a city I didn't know anybody. I was gone 17 years, so when I went in there was flip phones. When I got out there, smartphones.
Yeah.
World changed. Yeah. And I was told that two options: get a job either doing construction or warehouse work. So I got out, started applying for those jobs. I couldn't land one. I had a record. I had no work history. I had tattoos. I was a felon, and I was on parole. Couldn't get a job. And so finally, a sister, Sister Mary Sean, from a Catholic backed organization, nonprofit, gave me my first job, writing letters to the people in prison, and just doing self-help groups through there, part-time, getting paid minimum wage. And I remember we would go every month to churches through LA, like, Catholic churches, and we would do an art exhibit, art from the incarcerated. And one day we were at a Sunday mass, biggest mass, huge, ton of people in there. And she told me, she said, Carlos, I want you to go up and right after mass and go up there and tell them your story. And I was so scared. I was like about to piss in my pants because I'm afraid of public speaking. I was like, never really told my story like that. But I didn't want to say no to the sister. So I was like, okay. She pushed me. She got me out of my comfort zone. She believed in me. And so I went up there and did. And everything changed from that moment. Meaning that like 20 people that were in that church, all successful people. Some of them were like CEOs of companies. Some of them were movie directors. Successful people came up to me and was like, call me. So I did. And then they just started to open doors for me. Like, I got into business school through a full scholarship through somebody from there. They became my mentors. Through business school, I learned business and started my own business. We were profitable before I graduated. And so the benefit of that is that if you can do that, then you can pitch to Google for funding. So I did that, got the funding. And then the people on the panel, there was like Shark Tank almost, that gave me the funding. Not only gave me the funding, they all committed to be my mentors.
Wow.
So like literally just like all this stuff happened. I wrote my first book, started getting that out there, schools and places all over LA. Then I started my podcast. Then I started my nonprofit. I've been building my company since then. And yeah, I have an amazing partner. We live in Santa Monica. I never imagined I would have the life I have now when I walked out.
What a beautiful life now, right?
What a beautiful life, man. It's amazing.
I can't thank you enough.
Yeah.
I can't thank you enough. And coming on this show and going through what you did, accepting full responsibility, and never giving anybody up, even when it got even more adverse for you, when you wanted to leave, and you still wouldn't give anybody up. You took the punishment, you dealt with it, you fought it, and you kept the course. You kept the course and saying, I'm not going to let this deter me. I'm going home. And you never hurt anybody again after that. Never hurt anyone again after that.
Right.
And you made a conscious decision to say, I can do better in life, and I can help other people do better in life.
Yeah.
How beautiful is that, brother?
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Yeah.
Before we end, if you were able to give, or can give, please, the best advice to people and for life, what would you say?
For people that were in our life, or
In our life, in life in general?
yeah, follow your heart is always my thing, because even during my time of like crime and that destructive lifestyle that I lived, even during that time, the big decisions, the really big decisions in life, every time I followed my heart, it was the right thing. Not telling on people, not, ratting, whatever, not doing anything, keep maintaining that was me following my heart, because my mind was saying, yeah, you should probably do that. You'll get out, or you should do. Everybody was pumping these things in my brain, but when I had to make that decision, it was coming from here. And even now, so going fast forwarding to who I am now, my brain, when I first got out of prison, was like, nope, you're limited. You'll never do that. You can never be that. You have a record. You'll never become successful. But my heart was like, no, I can, and I will, and I'm not going to give up. So follow this, right? Because at the end of the day, you can live with that, whatever decisions you make. This, operating out of this, a lot of it is fear, and you may not be able to live with that. Because I know plenty of people who have to carry the idea that they put a person away for the rest of their life, and that person's still sitting in there with a life sentence, and they're free. How do you live every day with that? And they're like, right?
There's many guys out there that think they're tough guys today.
Yeah. So follow your heart.
After they help put many of these men away that are doing life.
Yeah.
But they're tough guys on the street today. I can't even fathom how people even think that they are tough guys.
Yeah.
I just want to thank you. It's been such a pleasure. I'm looking forward for more things in the future with you.
Let's do it.
You're amazing, and I'm so glad that you changed your life around and are helping so many good people out there. Thank you, Carlos, for coming on.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it.
Thank you.